Discover the incredible power of pausing, 7 hidden steps to life-changing wisdom revealed. Sarah tossed a rag over her shoulder as the bell chimed over the door of the little diner she called home for most of the day. The smell of hot coffee and greasy burgers mingled in the air like an anxious breath, always buzzing, always on the edge. Each clatter of dishes, each shout of an order, weighed heavy on her heart. The world outside was bustling, families gathered under the fading autumn sun while she served another plate of fries to a weary truck driver. Somewhere, her 2 kids were waiting for her, their little hearts longing for more than just dinner, but there was rent to pay. There were bills to manage. With every passing minute, the distance between her and her children grew like an unseen chasm, lined with unspoken words. They were her world, yet she felt like a ghost hovering at the edge of their lives. Sometimes, she would glimpse Sam and Lily, giggling as they played in the fading light, and her chest would tighten. How could she pull them closer when the weight of survival pulled her so far away? One evening, Sarah found herself at a community center, the familiar air rife with tension. Economic hardships gripped her small Midwestern town like a cold hand. As Mr. Jenkins, an old veteran with a voice like gravel, spoke to a small gathering, Sarah felt his words wash over her like a cool breeze. Sometimes, he said, it's in the pause where we find our true strength. Caught up in that moment, Sarah's heart raced. Could it be as simple as that? Could she pause in the midst of all this chaos and truly reconnect with her kids? She clung to this idea as her thoughts bounced like a pinball, doubt, guilt, and hope swirling together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sarah took a deep breath, deciding that her new journey started with a simple act of kindness. She offered to help Mr. Thompson, her elderly neighbor, with his yard, the leaves piled high, waiting like whispered memories. Watching his face light up brought her joy, a feeling both unfamiliar and warm. As they worked together, she shared stories and her kids' dreams, laughter spilling between them like sunshine through the trees. When she returned home that night, Sam and Lily were all sprawled out on the living room floor, art supplies everywhere. "Mom, you've got to see our masterpieces," they shouted, their cheeks flushed with excitement. She knelt beside them, and in that moment, the chaos outside faded. It was just the 3 of them, creating new connections, listening, sharing, but not everything could be so bright. Whispers of the diner's impending closure cast a shadow over her newfound light. The fear gripped her heart, her job, her lifeline. Would it slip through her fingers just as she started to grasp her purpose? Gathering the community for a fundraiser felt like the only way forward. She stood there, thoughts racing, people watching, hope anchoring her. As their murmurs filled the air, she faced them, heart pounding. Could they rise together? The same strength she had begun to possess now flowed through her town. Would they too find a moment to pause, reflect, and unite in efforts larger than themselves? In that charged silence, Sarah stood, energy crackling like electricity. One question lingered: could a single voice ignite the spirit of a town slipping through their hands? As she prepared to speak, uncertainty loomed. Yet, maybe here, amidst the rising tension, they would find something more powerful than survival, a genuine community forged in resilience. Sarah took a deep breath, her mind racing as she stood in front of the gathering. The flickering overhead lights accentuated the worried expressions on the faces of her neighbors. They looked like her struggling, hopeful, searching for a glimmer of light amidst the heaviness of their lives. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice shaky but resolute. I know times are tough. We are feeling it together. But I believe we can change the course of this town, together. She paused, letting her words sink in. The murmurs quieted, curiosity rippling through the crowd. It felt like a lifetime, yet just a heartbeat, as she searched for her next thought. She took a moment to consider what Mr. Jenkins had said. The pause was powerful. It was in the silence where strength lay. I've seen the pain in our faces, the worry of losing jobs, homes, and each other. She glanced at the worn faces, each telling a story of their own struggles. But I also see hope. I see families who care. I see a community ready to rise. Let us not wait for things to change. Let us be the change. The spark in her voice caught fire within the room. Heads nodded, eyes lit up with determination. Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline, pushing her to dig deeper, to keep going. Let us come together, support one another. We can hold a fundraiser right here, in this space. Let us invite everyone, share our strengths, our talents. Together, we can make sure that my diner, our diner, stays open. A wave of warmth washed over her as she saw hands raise, showing easy agreement, echoing her thoughts. I can bake pies and cakes, Mrs. Keller chimed in. I've got talent for music, said young Tony, who was known for brightening their small-town events. One by one, people were sharing their skills, their dreams. Laughter and support sparked between them, lighting the room. By the end of the meeting, Sarah felt a renewed energy pulsating around her. They had a plan, a purpose that went beyond survival. This wasn't just about her diner, it was about their community, a web of connections and care for one another. It felt like stepping into the light. That night, as she tucked her kids into bed, laughter still echoed in her ears. Sam and Lily snuggled under their blankets, sleepy but smiling. You were so brave, Mom, Lily murmured, her voice thick with dreams. I loved the way you talked. What happened next? Sarah stroked her daughter's hair gently, a smile on her face. I don't know, sweetie. But whatever happens, we're in this together, and I promise to pause and be with you. Moments later, she stepped out onto the porch for some fresh air. The autumn breeze brought with it the scent of leaves and possibility. But before she could fully embrace the calm, her phone buzzed in her pocket like an urgent wake-up call. It was a message from Mr. Jenkins. We need to talk. Important news. Meet me tomorrow at the diner. Her heart raced. What news could be so urgent? A chasm of anxiety formed alongside her hope. Would this call alter the path they just started to forge together? As she stood there, watching the stars twinkle like distant dreams, Sarah felt the weight of her responsibilities lump against her chest again. What if this went away just as quickly as it came together? With uncertainty hanging in the air, one thing became clear: whatever lay ahead, it would require them to pause once again and reflect, to navigate through the unknown. She had to be ready. Tomorrow may hold the answers or more questions. But one thing was certain, she was no longer alone. The morning dawned with a heavy mist rolling over the town, making everything seem a little softer, almost secretive. As Sarah poured herself a cup of coffee, the aroma filled the kitchen, mingling with the nervous flutter in her stomach. She couldn't shake the feeling that today was going to change everything. With the morning routine complete, she kissed her children goodbye and set off towards the diner. Each step felt heavy, purposeful. The excitement of last night's meeting was still fresh, but the weight of anticipation pressed on her chest. That message from Mr. Jenkins replayed in her mind, drowning out the morning bird song. Why the urgency? What news did he have? As she approached the diner, the familiar sight filled her with both warmth and anxiety. The sign hung there, slightly crooked, but it was theirs, part of their community tapestry. She could already see the flicker of Mr. Jenkins' office light through the window. He was there, waiting. Waiting for her. When she stepped inside, the diner felt different. The chairs were still, the booths empty, yet the air hummed with possibility. "Morning, Sarah," Mr. Jenkins said, raising his head from a stack of papers. His face was creased with concern, deeply shadowed by the challenges he had faced. "Thank you for coming." "Of course," she replied, forcing a smile. "What is going on?" He gestured for her to sit, his brow furrowed. "I've been reviewing the finances. There is no easy way to say this, but the bank is tightening their grip. If we don't act fast, we could lose this place." Sarah's heart sank. The fear of losing the diner, it wasn't just fear, it was a visceral ache. That diner was more than just a building. It was their sanctuary, a source of connection. "But we have the fundraiser coming up. We can rally." "Sarah, listen," he interrupted gently. "You're inspirational. But even that might not be enough. I overheard a conversation at the bank. They are looking at options that don't include us." The world blurred around her as she fought to process this news. Panic swirled like a storm in her chest. The laughter from last night faded, leaving behind a haunting silence. "What do we do?" she asked, her voice trembling. "We need to provide a solid plan, something concrete to show them the diner means more than profit." His eyes were fierce, willing her to understand. "We need the community to back us up, to show them we belong here. That we are not just a business, we are part of a home." Nodding, Sarah felt a flame of resolve flicker back to life within her. "We can do this. The people, they want to fight for this place." "Exactly." Mr. Jenkins smiled, a flicker of hope sparking in his eyes. "But it requires everyone to rally together. You're the heart of this, Sarah. They'll take your lead." Suddenly, the message from Mr. Jenkins didn't feel like an anchor weighing her down anymore. It felt like a call to action. She stood up, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Then let us start spreading the word. We need every voice, every hand." As they saw the determination ignite in each other's eyes, a powerful wave of energy filled the space around them. Together, they were unstoppable. Later that day, Sarah took the drive through the heart of town, stopping at each familiar face along the way, sharing the urgency. With each conversation, sparks flew, people nodding, sharing their own memories of the diner, their personal ties to it. It was blooming, a wildfire of unity forged from shared love and history. As she returned to the diner, the late afternoon light glistened, framing their home in gold. It was beautiful. And then, behind the softness of the dusk, a figure appeared in the distance, moving purposefully towards her. The question raced through her mind, was this another ally, or was it trouble approaching? The moment stretched, and she couldn't help but hold her breath. Who could it be, and what did they want? The figure grew clearer as it approached, revealing a familiar silhouette. It was Max, the town's mayor, his expression a mix of seriousness and determination. Just as relief washed over her, anxiety crept back in. The mayor rarely ventured to the diner, and when he did, it was always for something significant. "Sarah," he called, lifting a hand in greeting as he closed the distance. "I heard from Mr. Jenkins that you are spearheading a movement to save the diner." "Max, yes. It's urgent," she replied, her heart racing at the thought of his involvement. "We need support from everyone in town, and quickly. The bank is pushing us out, and we can't let that happen." He furrowed his brow, looking on with a solemnity she had never seen from him before. I know how much this place means. It's been a cornerstone for our community, but we need more than just sentiment. We need resources, and possibly a plan that shows real potential for growth. Resources? Sarah echoed, suddenly aware of the weight of his words. Like what? Funding, for one. I've been working on a potential grant for community businesses, but it's competitive. Not only do we need a solid pitch, but we also need community support to back it up. A spark ignited within her. The fundraiser. We can channel their energy into a project proposal, show them everything this diner represents. We could even feature local families who made memories here. It won't just be about saving the diner, it will be about showcasing our town. He nodded, visibly impressed. I like it. If we can get people to share their stories, it will make a compelling case. But you need to act fast. The deadline for the grant application is just a few weeks away. Then we have to get everyone on board, fast. Sarah's mind was racing with possibilities. We'll set up an event, invite everyone to tell their stories and memories. If we can get enough support together in one place, it will show the bank we mean business. Max stepped a little closer, lowering his voice. Sarah, I'll help however I can, but you need to know that not everyone may come out in support right away. Change can make people anxious. There might be some who don't want to see the diner as a symbol of hope or progress. Taking in his words, she fought against the doubt creeping in. But we have to try. I refuse to let that happen. This diner is the heart of our town, we're all connected through it. We can't let fear dictate our future. Max placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her. You're right. Let us organize a town meeting. We'll invite everyone who cares about this place and beyond. You need to harness that fire in your heart to inspire them. Together, we can reignite the passion for this diner. Feeling her resolve solidify, Sarah felt a newfound purpose. Let us do it. We'll bring everyone together. This isn't just about the diner, it's about our lives, our community. They shared a determined nod before Max turned to leave, his figure silhouetted against the sunset. As Sarah stood there, she felt the afternoon shadows stretch long, a tangible representation of the urgency ahead. Yet, as hope surged through her veins, a distant sound caught her attention. Car doors slamming and low murmurs began rising from the street just beyond the diner. Was it her family? A group of supporters come early? Or something darker, more unsettling, lurking in the fog of night? She took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation. Whatever was coming, it was clear this battle to save the diner was just beginning, and it would demand everything from her. What awaited her just beyond that threshold? Sarah's heart pounded as she stepped toward the door, pushing it open just enough to peek outside. A group of familiar faces hovered on the sidewalk, their expressions a mix of curiosity and uncertainty. Old Henry, the retired schoolteacher, stood with his arms folded tight against his chest, while Ruth and Clara exchanged worried glances. A sense of urgency gripped her. She needed to rally them. Hey folks! Sarah called out, raising her voice to cut through the hum. What brings you all here? A few heads turned, and she felt the collective weight of their gaze. It was a usual gathering of neighbors, but today, the air was thick with tension. Sarah, we heard about the diner, Henry replied, his voice rough with age but steady. Is it true? Are they really shutting it down? She nodded, her stomach tying itself in knots. Yes, but we can save it. I just spoke with Mayor Max. We are organizing a town meeting to gather support. We need your stories, your voices. This diner is part of all of us. Clara stepped forward, her brow furrowing deeper. But what can we do? People are scared. They want to keep things as they are. No one wants to change. Change doesn't have to mean losing what we love. Sarah replied, her voice rising with energy, shaking off her own fears. This diner isn't just a building, it's our memories, our laughter, our community. If we come together, we can show everyone how much this place matters. In that moment, a flicker of hope sparked in Ruth's eyes. What do you need from us, Sarah? Tell your stories, she urged, feeling the fire in her veins. Share what this diner means to you. We will showcase those stories at the meeting. We need to show the bank that we are more than just patrons, we are a family. Henry nodded slowly, the lines of his face softening as the realization settled in. You're right, Sarah. I remember hosting the book club here for years. Those were some of my favorite moments. A murmur spread through the crowd, voices rising in quiet enthusiasm as memories floated up, washing away layers of doubt. What about the Christmas parties? Clara asked, a smile breaking through the storm. And all the kids who work here after school. Exactly. Sarah replied, feeling more alive with each word shared. These stories not only save our diner, they remind us why we need each other. As they began to exchange details, laughter mingling with the echoes of their past, Sarah felt a warmth take root. Maybe, just maybe, they could spark something incredible. She looked around at her neighbors, now more than volunteers they were her allies. But just as they were catching momentum, a car screeched to a halt nearby. The sudden noise cut through their camaraderie. Everyone turned to see a figure climb out, a stranger, his demeanor tense. The crowd grew silent, uncertainty creeping back. Whispers filled the air. Who is that? What does he want? Sarah's heart raced again. She gripped the door frame tighter, dread curling in her stomach. Was he here to help or hurt? With breath held tight, she stepped forward again. The future of the diner, and possibly much more, could hinge on the next moments. What would this new arrival mean for them all? The stranger stepped into the light, and Sarah caught a glimpse of his face. He looked to be in his 30s, with dark hair that fell across his forehead, and eyes that sparkled with an intensity that made her uneasy. The crowd shifted, a wave of murmurs rippling through them like a gust of wind. Who are you? Henry called out, his tone firm but cautious. Just a passerby, the man replied, raising his hands as if to show he meant no harm. I heard some people talking and thought, well, I might be able to help. A thin thread of skepticism hung in the air. Help how? Clara challenged, her brow furrowed. I know about the diner, he replied. The troubles it's facing. I thought maybe I could offer some ideas. Sarah felt a spark of hope ignite at his words, but doubts lingered. His appearance was so sudden, so unexpected. What do you know about our diner? She asked, crossing her arms defensively. I was in town a while back, and the diner was a favorite stop, he said, catching her gaze. I saw how people came together here. It's more than just a place to eat, it's part of your community. I've seen plenty of businesses close down when folks don't rally behind them. What is your name? Ruth asked, her voice softening as she stepped closer. Lucas. I'm not from around here, he added, noting their skepticism. But I've watched towns like yours lose their heart. I can't just stand by. Sarah glanced back at her neighbors. They were wrestling with fear and uncertainty, but the flicker of hope in Lucas's voice was hard to ignore. What do you suggest? She finally asked, her heart racing. "First, we need to gather everyone's memories, those stories you mentioned," he replied. "Then, we can compile them into something powerful. A booklet, even a video, to show the bank how integral the diner is to you. But you also need to reach out to the community beyond just your immediate circle. Online, social media, you can create a campaign that raises awareness, sparks interest. You'd be surprised at how many people would come together for a cause they don't even know about yet." "That sounds promising," Henry admitted, glancing around at the others. Clara frowned, turning skeptical again. "But how can we trust you? What if this is a trick?" "I understand your doubts," Lucas said, his tone earnest. "I'm just a guy who cares. I can't promise anything. But I believe in the fight for the things that matter. And I'd like to help in any way I can." As the crowd considered his words, Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Could this stranger really provide the help they needed? Or was he here to distract them from their efforts? "Let us give him a chance," she urged, taking a step toward Lucas. "We need to explore every avenue. If he can help us save the diner, then we owe it to our community to listen." The murmurs started again, this time a bit more energized. The flicker of hope that had been ignited began to blaze, pushing past doubt and fear. Stories began to bubble forth. As they shared their memories, Sarah's heart swelled. She glanced at Lucas, who was listening intently, his expression sincere. But just as she began to feel a sense of unity, the sound of approaching sirens split the air, bringing everyone's words to a sudden halt. "What now?" Sarah wondered, her stomach tightening. Was this the beginning of something greater or an end to their hopes? The atmosphere thickened with tension as uncertainty hovered. The future hung in the balance. Would they have time to act before outside forces intervened? The wailing sirens grew louder, piercing through the air like an unwelcome storm. Fear painted the faces of the crowd. Sarah's heart raced. The diner was their lifeline, but what if this was the moment everything crumbled? Henry stepped forward, his jaw clenched, scanning the streets as the flashing lights drew closer. "Everyone, stay calm," he instructed, his voice steadying the group somewhat. "We can't let panic take over." Lucas remained in the middle of the crowd, eyes flicking back and forth between Sarah and the incoming vehicles. There was something captivating yet disconcerting about him. He seemed to draw strength from the chaos, emerging as a figure ready to battle against what lay ahead. "What if they're coming for the diner?" Clara whispered, her voice trembling. "Or maybe they're just passing by," Henry responded, trying to keep spirits high. "You know how things go in small towns. But we need to prepare just in case." Sarah's mind raced. If the sirens were indeed related to their plight, they had to act quickly. "Lucas," she said, her voice firm, "can we use this moment? If they're here for the diner or to investigate, we need to show them the strength of our community." He nodded, determination gleaming in his eyes. "Absolutely. You have stories to tell. The diner isn't just brick and mortar, it's memories, laughter, and life. Let us gather together." As the crowd shuffled closer, Sarah could feel a shift. The fear was fading, replaced by a united front. Each member of the community had a role to play, and they were willing to step into that light, even if it was a little blinding. "Let us share our stories right here," Sarah encouraged, raising her voice above the approaching noise, a flicker of inspiration dancing within her. "Let everyone remember what this place means. Let us not wait for the sirens to tell us how important we are." Ruth stepped forward first, her hands shaking but her voice clear as she spoke of her first date with her late husband at the diner. "This place saw our love blossom," she recalled, the warmth in her eyes juxtaposed with the tears that threatened to spill. Others chimed in. Stories poured forth about birthday parties, family gatherings, and late-night chats over coffee. The crowd, once filled with uncertainty, was now a tapestry of love, laughter, and memories, each thread woven together, pulling tighter as they shared their experiences. Sarah listened, her heart swelling with pride. They were united, not just by their fears but by their collective memories. She caught Lucas's gaze, and there was a hint of admiration in the way he absorbed every word. Then, abruptly, the sirens ceased, and a police car pulled to the curb. Its lights flashed brightly, illuminating the scene. All heads turned, anxiety returning like a wave. The officer stepped out, hat in hand, and approached. "What is going on here?" he asked, surveying the crowd. Sarah's heart raced once more. "We're fighting to save the diner," she declared, her voice steady but laced with emotion. "We are gathering stories to show how important it is to us." The officer raised an eyebrow, intrigued rather than irritated. "A community effort, huh?" "Yes," Lucas chimed in, stepping forward with confidence. "And we want to make it clear that this diner is a cornerstone of your town." The officer paused, a small smile creeping onto his face. "Well, you might just be surprising the right people if you keep this up." Hope flickered, but as quick as it ignited, the officer's radio crackled to life again, and the urgency returned. "But remember," he warned, "time is not on your side. You need to act fast." Sarah felt the weight of his words. Their brief moment of inspiration teetered on the edge of urgency. Would they act fast enough to save what they cherished the most? And as she looked around at her friends and neighbors, she knew one thing for certain: they couldn't let this moment slip through their fingers. "Let us keep going," she shouted into the gathering dusk, determination washing over her. But would they find the strength to truly rally before time ran out? The future of their diner depended on it. The tension hung thick in the air, almost palpable, as the crowd stood together, hearts pounding like a drum. Sarah scanned the faces around her. There were expressions of fear, but also flickers of hope. She held onto that hope, drawing strength from the gathered community. It was time to shift their energy, to harness their collective passion. "All right, everyone," Sarah called out, her voice ringing with purpose. "Each story shared brings us one step closer. Let us tap into our strength. Let us remember why this diner matters." Lucas stepped closer to her, inspired. "We need to organize. If we can get enough people to write down their stories or even record videos, we could send it to the council. Show them what they're risking if they let the diner go." A murmur of agreement swept through the crowd, and Clara was the first to step forward again. "I'll help with that," she said, her voice gaining confidence. "I remember learning how to ride a bike outside the diner. My dad cheered me on while sipping his coffee. That's a memory worth saving." Each story cracked open another layer, drawing more people to contribute their thoughts. The once distant officer stood, intrigued, listening to the rich tapestry of lives intertwined with the diner. Sarah felt the stories growing, the surprise retirements, the late-night confessions, the hefty slices of pie shared over laughter. As one member after another spoke, Sarah jotted down notes, adrenaline and urgency fueling her. She watched as Lucas recorded snippets on his phone, capturing the essence of each memory. The brightness of the diner's spirit shone through, filling her with warmth. Ruth stepped up again. "We could host an event. A night at the diner that showcases our stories. Invite the community to come and eat and make new memories." Excitement rippled through the crowd. "Yes!" someone shouted, "and we can do it this weekend." Suddenly, a voice from the back of the group broke through the noise. What if it gets shut down before then? They could just come in and tell us we're done. A hush fell over the crowd. Their unspoken fear loomed again. Sarah felt her stomach drop at the thought. Time was short, and their stories alone might not be enough. Seeing the look of worry spread among her friends, she said, "We want to let fear drive us. We're not just sharing memories, we're standing up. We'll create enough buzz that they can't ignore it. We need everyone's voice. The diner is more than just a place, it's the heart of our community." Henry shouted, "Let us make this viral. Call your friends, your family. We'll turn this diner into a festival of hope." Nods of agreement rippled through the crowd, determination taking root. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden light over the diner, Sarah felt the tide of change returning. They could do this together, but as the officer took a step back, his radio crackled again. "This isn't over," he warned, unsettling the group. "You need to know, decisions are being made right now that could impact your dining establishment sooner than you think." The crowd shifted uneasily. The urgency weighed on them like a storm cloud. Would they have enough time to organize, together, to present their case? Would this room bursting with determination truly change their fate? "Let us not waste this moment," Sarah urged, fire in her voice. "With every story shared, every memory fondly recounted, we stand a little taller. This isn't just a fight, it's a stand for what we love. Are you with me?" The chorus of yes filled the air, loud and fierce. But the lingering question gnawed at her: would their collective passion and effort be enough to sway the powers at play? The moment hung in the air, suspended, as she felt the ache of uncertainty clawing at her heart. Would they rise to the challenge, or would they lose their lifeline? Time was ticking, and their chance to save the diner was slipping away. The excitement in the diner surged as the crowd erupted into chatter, exchanging stories, and ideas like electricity sparking between them. Sarah let it wash over her, the warmth of camaraderie igniting her resolve. She glanced at Lucas, who was busy capturing the momentum on his phone, his fingers flying over the screen as he focused on individuals recounting their beloved moments. "Let us set up a Facebook event," Clara suggested, her cheeks flushed with enthusiasm. "We'll spread the word to everyone we know. We can have sign-up sheets for people who want to share and a schedule for the night." "Yes. And we should include a highlight of some diner favorites, maybe a giveaway." Henry chimed in, already sketching plans for the event in his mind. The thought of giving away juicy burgers or those famous milkshakes made everyone's mouths water. "Great idea," Sarah replied. "Let us make it a true celebration. We can bring back the diner's greatest hits." But as enthusiasm bubbled over, Sarah couldn't shake the chill of urgency from earlier. The officer's warning echoed in her head. What if they didn't have time? What if there were decisions made before they could gather their strength? She had to focus, ground herself in what was happening now. Lucas nudged her. "Hey, we need a catchy name for our event. Something that captures what this diner means to us." "Save the Diner, Memories Matter Night," Sarah suggested, feeling the gravity of each word. "Love it," Clara responded. "It's perfect. We're not just saving a place, we're honoring all the lives it has touched." While the discussions of names and themes took flight, Sarah caught snippets of personal stories weaving through the conversations around her. Life lessons shared over coffee, losses that became victories within the diner's walls. Each moment seemed like a small thread binding the community tighter together, and she felt a swell of gratitude. Suddenly, an older man stepped forward. It was Mr. Thompson, the retired teacher whose laughter often echoed over pie slices. His voice was slightly tremulous but steady. "I met my late wife here. This diner isn't just a building, it's where I saw her smile for the first time. We danced in the corner booth, and I'll never forget that night. Tears glistened in Sarah's eyes. She could feel the heartbeat of their community in his words. The crowd leaned in, captivated by his memory, a shared sigh floating through the air as they absorbed the depth of connection that came from such a simple place. When he finished, a soft round of applause broke out, reverberating through the diner walls strong and proud. "All right," Sarah exclaimed, breaking the emotional thread. "This is exactly what we need. We all have stories that matter. Let us lean into that. Let us show everyone what this diner means to us and what we'll do to keep it alive." More voices called out, echoing their shared determination. It became a chorus of unity, a sanctuary of hope within the diner's walls. Ideas flowed fast and furious, perhaps a mural painted by locals showing their memories. Beer and wine tastings combined with storytelling sessions on event night. In the midst of the planning, Sarah's phone buzzed. Glancing at the screen, her heart skipped a beat. It was an email from the council. Holding her breath, she opened it. The subject line was abrupt: urgent decision regarding community diner. Everyone noticed her shift in demeanor. Sarah's heartbeat quickened as she read through the message. They're meeting tomorrow morning to discuss the future of the diner. The air stilled. A collective breath held in dread. Would their fate be sealed before they even had a chance to band together? "Okay," Sarah finally said, her voice steady but her insides churning. "We need to act fast. What we do today could very well change everything. Are you all with me?" A sharp intake of breath followed, and then, like a powerful wave, they all responded, "Yes." But as anticipation filled the room again, another question loomed heavy in the air: how would they take on the council with urgency and heart? And could they awaken enough support before tomorrow's meeting to turn the tide? The sun rose timidly over the horizon, the light creeping through the diner's windows like a hesitant promise. Sarah stood at the counter, brewing coffee while the familiar scents of the diner wrapped around her like a warm embrace. It was a different feeling this morning. There was urgency, a shared mission sinking deep into her bones. After the emotional gathering, Sarah couldn't forget the energy that surged through her and her neighbors. Each story shared had been another link in their chain of hope. Now they needed that hope to manifest into action. She glanced around, remembering the faces and the lifetimes woven into those walls. The diner was home, and they would fight to keep it. The planning began. Clara coordinated social media posts, spreading the word while Henry and Ruth called friends and family, getting folks excited about the event. Sarah felt buoyed by their spirit and knew it wouldn't be long before they transformed the diner into an epicenter of life and love. As noon approached, a small crowd began to trickle in. Their laughter and chatter filled the air, the once empty booths now surrounded by familiar faces. Sarah greeted everyone with smiles, her heart racing with purpose. Lucas, ever the voice of reason, gathered them at the front to discuss the plan. "Let us start tonight's Memories Matter night by sharing more stories. Each one is powerful on its own, but together, we'll create something unstoppable." The crowd murmured in agreement, eager to contribute. Sarah turned to face them. "With each story you tell, you're not just saving the diner, you're reminding each other why we all belong together. Tonight, we can show our community spirit. Let us unite for something bigger." As evening approached, the diner sparkled with excitement, adorned with fairy lights and adorned tables, each set for connection. The chatter grew louder as a vibrant hum of anticipation filled the air. Neighbors spilled in, filling every corner, holding papers filled with memories. Those who had once expressed hesitation were now beacons of passion, sharing stories that had glimmered in their minds for years. "Nights like this brought us together," Sarah's voice called out over the din. Let us not just save our diner, let us celebrate who we are. Faces lit up, and laughter filled the diner like music. She could see the transformation. Places that had been once hesitant were now ready to stand together, and as her heart swelled with warmth, she did the one thing she knew would anchor them. She listened to each story told, each laugh, each sigh, and she shared the bond of memories that formed around the very diner where they Saturday. Then came the moment they had all been waiting for. The sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the gathered crowd. Sarah stood at the edge, the nervousness swarming within her. It was time to make their stand. Tonight, we speak as one voice, one community. I need everyone to step forward and share what this diner means to you. Because every time we share, we strengthen our fight. One by one, faces lit up, and stories began pouring forth. From Henry reminiscing about serving breakfast to his beloved students, to Clara recalling the first time she fell in love, to her crush lingering over milkshakes after school, each narrative sparked nostalgia, resonating deeply among the growing crowd. As the stories cascaded, a ripple of connection grew, not just between them but out into the world. Each word carried the essence of their lives, amplifying their bond as a resilient community. And in those moments, time slipped away. They shared hopes, dreams, laughter, and tears. Each story called others into the fold, turning fear into determination. The diner was bursting with love, a chorus woven together that could no longer be ignored. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Sarah took a breath, feeling every heartbeat around her as they stood united. Let us spread this energy far and wide. Everyone here has a part to play, she urged, her voice breaking slightly with emotion. The council needs to understand, this diner is more than bricks and mortar, it's our hearts made visible. Just as the cheers erupted, she caught the eye of Lucas, who smiled softly but knowingly. There was strength in vulnerability, and she saw that gathering here was an act of courage. They were a living testament of resilience, ready to share their soul, to show the world just how much they mattered. As night fell, Sarah allowed the warmth in her heart to swell until it felt like it might burst. Though fear still lingered at the edges, this night had begun to stitch together a bright future. Long after the stars blinked into the night sky, with the din of laughter still echoing in her ears, Sarah looked around at her friends and neighbors. You could feel it in the air. Hope was thriving, and together they had transformed uncertainty into a shared journey. The next day would be a pivotal moment. Everyone would gather. But for now, in this moment, together they had created something that transcended survival. They had built a community forged in love, laughter, and memories that would carry them forward. And just like that, Sarah knew they would face whatever was approaching with a heart full of defiance and unity. They were ready. Tomorrow was now their moment. If Sarah could seize it, so could all of them. So remember, you need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see the beauty of community transformations. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the word. Your support matters.